Welcome to this Blackpool Music School video all about Cigar-Box guitars. For this video you will need a 3-string Cigar-Box guitar with diatonic spacing. You may notice the gaps between the frets are larger than on other stringed instruments like guitars, mandolins, ukuleles. This is called a diatonic fretboard. And you will need to be tuned G, D, G. So that's the G, low G, the one nearest your chin, D, the middle string, and G, the high string. And if you strum down, it creates a G chord. In this video, we're going to show you how to play in other keys. Some people think because this is tuned to G, D, G, you can only play in the key of G. You can actually play in 2 other keys relatively easily on one of these instruments. So in this video we're going to cover the keys of A and the key of D. To play in the key of A you need an A chord. An A chord is those 3 fingers at the 1st fret like that. You can play it that way with a bar at the 1st fret if you use a slide. I tend to use those 3 fingers like that. There's a reason for this when we come to the next chord. So if you strum down, that's an A chord. So it is the first 3 fingers at the 1st fret like that. That is an A chord. So staying on the A chord, we'll just strum 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... That's the way I will personally play it. Some people use a bar like that, 1 finger, it can be any finger, across all 3 strings just before the 1st fret. And that's the other way to play the A chord. Personally, for this video, I will play it like that, which will become clearer when we learn the next chord. The next chord we need to play in the key of A is a D chord, and the reason I play the A chord like that is because if you lift your middle finger off the middle string, that's now a D chord. So you've got A, D, A, D. So if we do 4 strums on A, lift the middle finger, D, A, with the middle finger, D, A, lift the middle finger, D, again A, lift the middle finger, D. So we'll do a bar of A, then a bar of D. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and A. D, A, D, A, D, A, D, A, D. If you do A that way, you then got to twist your hand around to go to the D. A, D. But if you do it A that way with the 3 fingers, you simply lift your middle finger. And that is the D chord and the A chord in the key of A. There is another way to play the D chord where you can use either that A position or that A position. This is to slide it up to the 4th fret. So that's your note, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you put your 3 fingers in there before the 4th fret. That is a D chord. So we've got a D chord there and a D chord there. So you can use that D or that D. Now, whichever fingering you use for these chords doesn't really matter if you're sliding up, because you can play A with one finger like that and simply slide that up to the 4th fret like that, and that's fine, you're in D now. So you can do A, slide it up, D, A, D, A, slide up to the 4th, D. Or you can do A that way, slide all them up to the 4th, like that, D. So in a bit more detail, I've got the A chord like that, and all I do is slide it up to the 4th like that. Or slide back down to the 1st fret like that. Or using the one finger A chord, slide that up to the 4th. And do it that way. The choice is yours. So I'll go for that again. You've got an A chord that way, and you slide it up to the 4th. Or an A chord that way, and slide it up to the 4th. Or do the A that way and take your middle finger off to go from A to D. And those are the chords of A and D. There is one more chord you need to know to play in the key of A. These are simple rock and pop songs in the key of A, I should say, with 3 chords. So that's an E chord. So you're at the 4th fret playing your D. So you're using the 3-finger technique, you simply slide them up to the 5th, that is your E chord. So that's your D, you simply slide up one more fret to the 5th, that's your E. And if you're using that technique, at the 4th for the D, you simply slide that one finger up to the 5th for the E. So we've got an E chord now. We've got an A. And we've got a D. Another way to remember this is 1st, 4th, 5th. That's 1st, 4th, 5th. Or correctly, A is the 1st, D is the 4th, and E is the 5th. So now we've got them down, we will now play the 12-bar blues. So now we will play the 12-bar blues in the key of A. For this I will be using this finger position and simply sliding up to the 4th or sliding up to the 5th. So we have 4 bars, 4 strums to the bar in A. So we'll start off 1, 2, 3, 4, A. Second bar, 3rd bar, 4th bar, slide up to D for 2 bars, another bar, back to A for 2 bars, up to the 5th, E for 1 bar, back to the 4th for 1 bar, that's D. Back to A at the 1st for 2 bars. We'll go for that again. 4 bars of A, 4 strums to each bar. D. Back to A. E, D, A. So now we've had a basic run through of the 12-bar blues, we'll now add a bit of swing to it. So instead of strumming just down, we're going to be going up as well. So this time it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and to each letter. The letters down below will be to the 12 bar blues. For each letter we're now doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and per letter. So 4 bars of A. First bar. Second bar. Third bar. Fourth bar, slide up to the fourth, 2 bars of D. First bar. Second bar, 2 bars of A. One of E at the fifth. One of D at the fourth. 2 of A at the first. Now we've had a run through the 12 bar blues, we will now play it at speed. I will be using a variation of strums. It is basically 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and for each letter that's down below in the description. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... and again. At the end of the 12 bar blues, to finish the song correctly, you play the last A chord, slide up to the fifth, 1 E chord, then back to the first for an A chord. Again, that's when you've strummed the last bar of A, up to the 5th fret, 1 D, back to the first for an A. And that's how you finish the song correctly. So, although I've been using the 12 bar blues as a guide, any songs with the chords A, D and E in can be played that way. I've just used the 12 bar blues for the easiest. So I hope you found this video useful. If you have, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Blackpool Music School for more videos. Until next time, take care, keep playing and goodbye. Welcome to this Blackpool Music School video all about Cigar-Box guitars. This is a 3-string Cigar-Box guitar with diatonic frets. Diatonic means in one tone or one key, and you may notice the gaps between the frets are larger than on, say, a mandolin, banjo or ukulele. So you'll need one of these tuned to G, D, G to play along with this video. G, the low G, the string nearest your chin, D, the middle string, and G, the string nearest the floor. Some people tend to think because this is tuned to G, and people use the phrase tuned to G, that you can only play in the key of G. It may sound better in the key of G, and it really does, but you can play in other keys. Our previous video played in the key of A. This one is going to play in the key of D, and you know most of the chords already. So without further ado, let's get started. To play in the key of D, you need to know 3 chords, and you actually know them all already if you've watched my previous videos. So let's get started. D chord. That is the 1st fret of the low and high G. That's your D chord. Your G chord can either be open like that, but I tend to use my ring finger on the 2nd fret of the high G. So that's D, G, D, G, D, G, and you need one more chord to play in the key of D, and that is A. The A chord is the 1st fret on all strings like that. That is your A chord. So we'll have a quick strum through. D, 4 strums. G, A, back to D. Again, D. 4 strums. G, A, then back to D. Now you know the chords, let's have a run through of the 12-bar blues in the key of D. For each letter we are strumming 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'll print the letters in the description down below. So D, 4 bars of D. That's the 1st. That's the 2nd. That's the 3rd. That's the 4th. G. Back to D. One bar of A. 1 bar of G. 2 bars of D. And to finish it off correctly, we do an A chord, then a D chord. We'll have a run through that again. 4 bars of D. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, G. Back to D. If you've watched all my videos, you should now be able to play the 12-bar blues in 3 keys on a Cigar-Box guitar that's diatonically tuned. But in the key of D we can do a little bit more with it than we can in other keys. So let's get started. We are doing a D chord. Okay, we'll cover what that is now. This hand, my strumming hand, is simply strumming up and down to a count of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. On the numbers we're going down, on the ands we're coming up. So we strum in 1 bar, 1 and 2 and. We slide that hand up 1 fret for 3 and, then back for 4 and. If you do the first 4 bars, adds a bit more to it. With the G chord we can do the same. I'm tucking my fingers out the way so you can see what I'm doing clearly. So we do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So for that we're playing the G chord with that finger, So it'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then back to D. So if we did the first 8 bars of the 12 bar blues, it'd be like this. Some of you may have noticed I did it differently then. Basically on this G chord, you can lift your finger off and on whenever you feel like it, like moving this D chord up and down. You can move it however, which way you choose and when you choose. So a D chord could be, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That way I just do it on the upstrokes. It's up to you. All you must do is sort of stay on the D, the real D, for the majority of the time.